Good morning, Oracles. We are wearing the Hawaiian shirt today because yesterday was an amazing day. Tesla was up almost 5%. The market was up green across the board. We had an amazing FOMC meeting. We got a lot of clarity out of this. My portfolio was up 5.5%. It was a wonderful day, absolutely wonderful day. So looking at what went on yesterday, and I apologize for not getting a video out last night. I was out late with my son, enjoying my time with him, and by the time I got home, it was just too late to make a video. So I'm putting it all together in this morning's video. And so looking at the FOMC meeting, we got a lot of clarity out of this. And so initially, we had seen the market dip down. I thought it was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news. We knew what was going to go on during the FOMC meeting. We knew what Jerome Powell was going to say, and he said what we thought he was going to say. But initially, that's what I thought was going to be going on, and that's why the market was coming down. But that's not what ended up happening. And then Jerome Powell gave us everything that the market wanted to hear, and the market cheered it and rallied into the close for an amazing day. And so what clarity did we get out of this meeting? So the clarity we got was basically him stating that we are going to have one interest rate hike, so a 25 basis point hike, for every single one of the 7 meetings that we are going to have for the rest of the year. And so the first one went on yesterday. So secondly, we also got information from him that at the end of the year, they're looking at probably a 2% interest rate at the end of the year, and inflation being 4.3%. What's really important about knowing these numbers is the fact that with this monitoring, now we can watch month to month and see what's going to go on. We are going to see what's happening with inflation. Are we in line with what the Fed said? Has the Fed changed their stance? And we can go month to month and literally just watch the market with inflation. Obviously, we still have Russia-Ukraine situation. We've got COVID spurring back up over in China. So little things to watch, of course, but the clarity for the inflation was the important thing that the market was looking out for. And as I talked about earlier in the week, looking at a potential double bottom in May that might end up coming because of higher inflation numbers than anticipated, and the Fed might end up doing a 50 basis point hike in May to cause a double bottom. That's really the only outlying factor that I can see potentially happening over the next couple of months. But other than that, it looks like it's some clear sailing. Obviously we still have to deal with the inflation, but as far as what the plan is going forward, looks like it is what the market is looking for. Now, we did see a little bit more volume come into the market yesterday, and so seeing the extra volume coming in is a great sign, especially on a green day. That tells me that big money felt comfortable enough to add some money into the market. It's not like they dumped all of their money in. There's still a lot of money on the sidelines, but them adding this money in just means that we're now in a place where they feel comfortable. We'll put the money in, and then they're going to let's see things how go for the next month. And so how does this play out for Tesla? Well, Tesla obviously already stated that the inflation is hitting them due to supply chain issues. Their costs are going up. They have raised the prices on all of their vehicles. But I was watching over on Tesla Daily, Rob had mentioned that they went up on all their prices last year, and we thought that it might be because of supply chain issues and costs going up, but that was not the case. It was more because of demand. Demand is so high, they are trying to subdue that demand by raising prices. And we saw that happen over the last week. They did 2 price increases over the last week, and the one they did 2 nights ago was significant across the board. But what's crazy is we're seeing a 100 to 300% increase in demand and orders being placed in some areas, despite the fact that these prices are going up. And I think what's ended up happening is because the prices are going up, more people are going out to place their orders, creating more demand. So it's kind of an upward spiral, which is a great problem to have for Tesla, not a great problem to have for consumers who want to purchase the vehicles. But, Tesla's trying to do what they can to keep demand in line. So this is going to bode well for margins, extremely well. And speaking of pricing power, Adam Jonas from Morgan Stanley visited the Fremont factory and took a tour over there. And it was mentioning about how, Tesla has pricing power and they're raising prices from a position of strength. A lot of times companies who, they like, oh, our margins are down, we need to raise prices to bring margins up. That's not what Tesla is doing. Tesla is doing it because they have so much demand. So that's why they are raising their prices. So this is definitely not a position of weakness. They have some of the best pricing power out there in the market. He had also mentioned that Tesla said that they are not losing sleep over the raw material situations. They've got plenty of raw materials and they're not concerned about the prices that they have them at. So that is also significant. And as far as Adam is concerned, Tesla is not going to have to change their pricing and they can keep going up on their pricing through 2024 or 2025 because they have just that much demand. That's incredible. So, he mentioned this. I wonder if this is a conversation perhaps that he had with somebody over in Fremont and they were discussing the backlog of all of the vehicles that they're trying to produce, or if this is just his own assessment based upon what he had seen at the factory. But either way, that's a great assessment. And I can definitely see through 2023, they're not going to have any issues with trying to come up with demand. So going into 2024, if supply chain issues can resolve themselves and they still have enough demand to, push out every vehicle that they produce, we are in for a wild ride for the next 3 years. So Q1 is really going to tell us some information based upon what's going on. We've got the ramps starting in Austin and Berlin. So if the prices going up on vehicles can offset margins and we can see margins over 25%, I think that's going to be big. If they can go over 30%, forget about it. We're going to be off to the moon. But if we can be over 25%, that's huge. Second quarter is going to be just as big because that's where the initial ramp is really going to be cooking in. And so if we can keep margins high at that point as well, then I think it's clear sailing from there because the next 2 quarters are really going to be the 2 tough quarters for the initial ramp with the 2 factories. And then after that, it's just, hey, let's let the profits roll in and we'll see what happens after those. And so looking at how the stock traded, we had 2 green days in a row. And we haven't had 3 green days in a row all year, I think. I've got to go back and check the charts, but I don't think we've had 3 green days in a row since the beginning of the year. So if we can get another one today, that would be great. But we are still consolidating. We're still in a consolidating pattern. We were a little bit lower than the wedge pattern than I would have liked 2 days ago, but we're still in it. So that leads me to believe that we're going to apex probably at the end of this month. And as I had said, I think we might see that breakout or breakdown happen when we get the Q1 delivery and production numbers. And one little note that I had picked up on was we're getting a lot of information about the insurance. And insurance is popping up in more and more states. And now Tesla is actually doing their own underwriting in many of these states. So looking at this progress, going back to the Q3 earnings call, where they had mentioned it on the call that this is what's going on. Zach Kirkhorn said, we are really excited about Tesla insurance, and that's something that a lot of people aren't factoring in. And sure enough, it's kind of like flying under the radar that not a lot of people are really talking highly about. But my goodness, it's Tesla insurance is just coming in. I'm waiting to see what we can see for revenues. I'm wondering if they're going to actually break it out separately. Let me know in the comments if you think that they're going to break out insurance revenues separately in the future or how they're going to break that down. And so now when I look at EV adoption, and this is a big piece that's going to go over in the future, and people are looking at a 25% adoption rate by 2025. Regardless of whatever the rate is going to be, I'm going to relate it strictly to cell phones and smartphones. It is almost a direct correlation to that whole phenomenon that went on 15 years ago. And I look back at that time and how many people did you talk to in your lives at that time who said, I don't need a cell phone. I never had one when I was growing up. I've gotten this far in my life without a cell phone. I don't need one. And now they own one. And maybe they owned a cell phone to start and now they have a smartphone. So you got to look at how the whole world progresses, and despite some people being, adamant and saying, I don't need this, and then end up getting one anyway, that's what's going to happen with EVs. Now, sure, some people still are never going to get one. It's going to happen. There are still some people out there who I deal with on a daily basis at my job who don't even have an email address. So it's going to happen. So we will never actually hit 100% EVs, but we're going to get to 99% at some point in the future. So we're going to get there. It's going to happen. And then you have to remember too, smartphones are only as smart as the user. Same thing's going to happen with EVs. So until we get to, robo-taxis, which at that point it's not going to matter anyway. But until then, EVs are only going to be as smart as the user. So somebody getting into it is gonna most likely gonna use it as just a car. It's their car, but it's electric. There are gonna be those of us who are gonna be out there and using the FSD and using all the different features and functions of it, and really getting into the vehicle itself. So there's a whole wide range of people that are going to be buying EVs, and it's going to be at all different levels. And it's basically a smart car, that's what it is. And that's what's going to happen is this, it's going to only be as smart as the user and the driver. And I can guarantee that many of the people today that say, I'm not going to get an EV, I didn't have one before, I like my ICE vehicle, give it 5 to 10 years, and I can almost guarantee you that most of them are going to be driving an EV. And it will be at that point that we no longer refer to them as EVs. We will just be referring to them as cars, because that will be the majority that is out there. And instead of saying, hey, I'm going to go buy a Tesla or I'm going to go buy an EV, people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy a car. And that's it. And when they say they're going to go buy a car, that means that they're going to go into their living room, sit on the couch and go buy a car, because that is how easy it is. And it's crazy, because that's basically what I did. I'm actually trying to remember when I bought mine. I don't know if I was at home or if I was at work one day and I was like, I'm going to buy myself a Tesla. But seriously, it's just that easy. You could be anywhere. You could buy a car while you're driving. Okay, that's unsafe. Don't do that. But while you're riding in a car, in the passenger seat, you can buy a car. It's absolutely insane how easy it is to do. And so to wrap everything up, it looks like we are on a good path for the stock. We will still see how the market trades in the macro environment. Obviously, anything can happen. Russia, Ukraine sounds like they're having negotiations and they seem to be making progress, yet Russia still continues to move forward and says that they're not going to stop until they get what they want. So it's all mixed signals coming in. So we'll see how the market plays with this. We had a great day yesterday and a great day the day before. Let's see if we continue. Either way, I'm looking for the end of Q1, beginning of April to see what's going to happen with production and delivery numbers, and then us leading up into the Q1 earnings. And we've got GigaFest going on. We've got the 22nd, we've got Giga Berlin opening. Lots and lots of exciting things happening over the next month. I'm really looking forward to sharing it all with you guys. So let me know in the comments below, what over the next month is the number one thing you are looking forward to the most? Is it the opening of Giga Berlin, opening of Austin, the GigaFest? Is it the production and delivery numbers? Maybe it's Q1 earnings. Could be S&P upgrade on their credit. So many things. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite moment. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.